Okay, Sandeep. So, how you reduce your blood pressure that is creeping up above 90 diastolic, and you are not on medications, so you don't want to go on medications. So there are six different things you can do to make sure that it is not creeping up. Okay,
हम्म.
six basic things. आणखीन त्याच्यामध्ये फर्स्ट थिंग इज दॅट एक मिनिट मी माझ्या क्लिप इन करतो इथे म्हणजे you won't come in the recording. Okay. So I'm talking about how to reduce the blood pressure when it is creeping up and when you are not on medications. Okay, one moment. Just one moment. Just let me mute you. Okay. Okay. So within 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you how to reduce the blood pressure that is creeping up gradually and you are not on medications. So when it hits the level of 90 diastolic, if it is, if you notice that occasionally it is going up, this is the red flag. You have got to immediately take action because you know that if it is, especially for a young person like who is up below 60, it going that high diastolic blood pressure is really a red flag. For in somebody who is above 60, it can occasionally go above 90 diastolic, and then it is also not good. And medical community these days, you know, they want the blood pressure to be below 80 diastolic. That might be overzealous, and so if even if we take 90 diastolic is as our golden standard, we have to make sure that we have to keep it below in all the readings, especially if you are under 50. So there are six different ways you have got to think about why, what you can do actually about it. So first thing is mind. So stress reduction, tension reduction, and excessive ambitions which are not appropriately managed. That is one of the things which is important from the mind perspective. So that we can take care of by contemplative meditation. Second thing is breathing. Breathing is that if your breathing is erratic, like in the day, if you see that when the things are happening which are stressful and when you are engrossed with things, unless you have trained yourself to breathe properly, you will hold the breath at times. By holding the breath, what happens? Or you might breathe shallow like that, you know. So when that happens, you know what happens, it happens unconsciously. Your carbon dioxide level in the blood slightly goes up. When it does that, it automatically releases hormones, you know, which are gearing you up for stress. That means fight, flight, and fright response, we call it. So in these situations, fight, fright, and flight situations, which is ancient, I mean, since ages, we have got this reflex. When that situation comes, you know, we breathe very shallow, and then automatically the reflexes are trained to increase the blood pressure to meet the demands of the situation. So what we have to do is that we have to pay attention to how we breathe, and we can do that by training ourselves for a little bit of a time to do pranayamas and things like that, anulom vilom. And that time, so when you are doing contemplative meditation for a 15-minute time, that time if you pay attention to your breathing, or very importantly, and the best thing to do is that you train yourself while you are running. So your running cannot be improved. Your heart rate has to be monitored, of course, for when you are running. So when you are running, if you must have watch, of course, when you are running. So when you are running, when you are watching the heart rate, you have got, if you have got to, you are manage the heart rate at a particular speed or distance. So if you are running so much, you know that your heart rate should not go above 80% of the number 220 minus your age. So if you are 50 years old, if you are 40 years old, for example, 180, so 80% of that. So your heart rate is not allowed to go, should not go above, say, whatever that number is, 150 maybe. So above that, if it is going, you have got to slow down your pace, and more importantly, you have got to train your breathing. If by breathing training is equally important in running as it is important to cadence. The cadence means number of step you take per minute is called cadence, and then the way you run. Your the way you run is very important. Whether you are breaking each time you take a step is important. Whether you are breathing aerodynamically. I mean, the body should. There are lots of YouTube videos you can see. I can recommend you some for exactly how you can train your running efficiently, and how to what is the importance of number of steps versus the length of the steps you take. So by doing these three things, you can control the heart rate during these things. But while you are doing that, that breathing training you get, there are 3 or 4 different kinds of breathings, that are good for running, to reduce the heart rate. So one of them is called, I don't know the names of them, but they are different kinds. Like one of them, which I'm using right now. I have juggled with few others, but one of them I'm using right now is the take the breath 8 times and leave it 4 times, and breathe through your nose and in, and breathe out through your mouth. And when you're breathing in, breathe in with the stomach, chest, and then upper chest, by make sure that you are not lowering this shoulders like that. And at the end of the inspiration, that is end of your breathing in, you take a deep breath, like a kind of almost of a like a yawn. So you dilate your throat, so that when you dilate your throat, if you have a practice of dilating the throat, you will notice that if you put your hand on the voice box will be pulled down. So when you do this by keeping the mouth open, you will notice that your voice box is pulled down. So that you do with mouth closed. When you are doing this, you know that you are expanding the throat, and when you are doing that, see, this is a yawn. This is a yawn, kind of a yawn, kind of a yawn. So yawn is a natural phenomenon to the body. When this does the yawn happen? Yawn happens when your oxygen supply to the body is low. You are tired. That time, you need more oxygen supply to the body. So what the yawn does is that it expands the lungs and everything, and gives you enough oxygen in the lungs, and then it actually same time it will stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system and reduce your blood pressure. So that happens when you can use that body's natural mechanism voluntarily. And when you do that, one thing is your oxygenation is improved and your heart rate goes down. And then you breathe out through the mouth. You breathe in slowly. If you breathe like this, then your heart rate will go down for the same pace. Okay, so that is one method of reducing the heart rate while you are running. Okay, so that's how they gradually increase the distance by this thing. So second thing was breathing is done. So next thing is that we have got to make sure hydration. Of course, the hydration is extremely important. Any runner is, that how crazy they are about the hydration. They will make sure that they can even they run even the pack like this. You have seen the pack like this? People run with the pack. Uh, this is a pack which you wear, and then you can suck the water through this periodically. And they say that if you are if you feel thirsty while running, that is too late. You have got to drink water, sip water before that. Or people run in with the bottle. Recently, I went to the marathon here, and I filmed about 2 hours of including uh, in the starting time, in the ending time, and people even run with the bottles of water in their hand. They pick it up on the way, pick it up, throw it away at the station, and then they keep drinking. They just hold it in the hand and keep running all the way 26 miles or 12 and a half miles. They keep running with the water in the hand, that so that they can drink it whenever they want, kind of thing. So the hydration is very important throughout the day. That you are doing already. I can see that. But the hydration was number three. Oh, I cannot say put the numbers on each one of them, but because all of them are equally important. The fourth thing is the sleep. Sleep is extremely important. The deep sleep is very important. So if you are not sleeping, length of time is in your hands. If you are not going up onto the bed at the right time, that is it in your hands. So many number of hours you should be in bed. Like that 8 hours a night, or 8 hours in 24 hours, you have to be actually in bed, relaxed, and completely. When you are going to bed, 15 minutes, you made contemplate in such a way that you have to forget about the worries, whatever worries there are, in the world. That's not your job. That's God's job to take care of that problem. So you just, even if it is something imminent next day, a deadline looming or anything, care two hoots about anything. Care two about hoots about the relations, family, anybody, loved ones, or anything. I mean, this is rude to say, but God is there to take care of everything. You cannot take, you can only do so much. Rest of it, God has to do the rest of the thing. So you just transfer the responsibility, and you do some kind of a affirmation. You create affirmation. That how to think that way. So you do that affirmation, and you just lie completely relaxed position, voluntarily relax the muscles, and use the optimum position, especially on the side, because then you are not snoring or anything. And then you just keep lying there. And the sleep is something, unless somebody gives it to you from above, Lord, he gives it to you, then only you will get it. If not, you are not going to get sleep. So uh, if you are not getting sleep, that's a different matter. So sleep 8 hours a day, and if it is not, you are waking up periodically, it might be because of sleep apnea. So you have got to get checked, that above 40, everybody should, if somebody is snoring especially, or waking up like that after sleeping, if suddenly wake up after a few minutes of falling asleep, then it could be sleep apnea. Then your sleep may not be deep enough, and then you have got to make sure that the sleep is deep enough for that. So that is sleep is the next thing. And then there are two or three things which remain. Is one is exercise, and another is diet. So in high blood pressure situation, the diet is not as important as diabetes. It is in diabetes. So of course it is important, but that other things do matter a lot. Whereas with diabetes, diet is the main thing. And for all these high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity, the weight gain, they are all due to the same underlying pathology in the cellular level. But and they will manifest together in each one of them. But in this one, we have to be, of course, we are going to be equally careful about our diet, and that should be low glycemic index food. And number one in that is that eat only twice a day. That is number one in it. So number one priority is eat one only twice a day. And in that, you know that you have got to learn how to eat only twice a day without feeling hungry, or what to do without with while feeling hungry. Okay, so that is one thing about the diet and low glycemic index food. About exercise, so exercise, good that you have chosen to increase your cardiopulmonary reserve by running. So that is important, to increase the cardiopulmonary reserve by running and increase the distances, and control the heart rate. And some amount of muscle training is necessary to maintain the whole core of the body, and increase the leg strength if you are doing the running, and other strength if you are doing triathlon, like swimming and cycling at the same time. Then you have to train other parts of the body as well, and make sure that you are absolutely healthy. And in that, I mentioned before that you have got to make sure that you train isotonically, not isometrically. So when you are training for increase in the strength, there are two types of strength training. One is isometric, another is isotonic. In isometric training, what you do is that you take a lot of weight, huge weight, and then you do less repetitions. Whereas if isotonic exercise is you do lot of repetitions, but take a small weight. Take a small weight and do lot of repetitions. So if you do lot of repetitions, for example, if you are getting uh, spasm while running, while in this muscle, and your ankle is hurting. Can you see my leg, foot? Yeah. So if you are getting ankle pain in long distance running, what you have got to do is that you have got to strain this muscle, peroneal muscle. In that case, what you do is that you do these motions, okay? You train these motions. So this motion is like a backhand of the tennis. Tennis backhand. Tennis backhand. If your these muscles are weak, you get tennis elbow. So similarly, while running, this motion is similar to that, like hitting, see, backhand. If this is weak, then you will get pain here in running. So what you do is that you do lots of motions here like this. There are different exercises I have devised, because I have a friend, client, who got this, and I cured it. He's running a marathon. So I devised a method how to strengthen that, and he got rid of his ankle. So for each of his this thing, I devised a different exercise for it wherever it is hurting. So it's sometimes when you are training for marathon, it might hurt here. So you have got to train different muscles here in the foot like that. So the bottom line is that uh, isometric versus isotonic. So isotonic, you do lots of repetitive. I cured my tennis elbow by doing repetitive motions, repetitive motion training against resistance. So what I did was that I did this. I did this. So I held by my hand, and I just kept on doing it, and my tennis elbow was gone. So I'm just telling you few things about isotonic, isometric, lots of repetitive motions you have got to do. So one thing I'm going to tell you is that the people who actually go to the gym and workout, they look different, and they don't look as agile as the people who are actually doing things all day, working in the garden or working somewhere, manual workers, like real gardeners, so okay, not like occasional gardener, or those who are actually plumbers, for example, or they have to go down and do this by many things, and to actually those people, their bodies are movers, for example, though their bodies are really really, they look much better than anybody, who goes to the gym and all day he's sitting in the gym, and or 3 4 hours he's spending time in the gym. So their bodies are more efficient because they are working isotonic exercise. They keep doing repetitive things. They used to dig it here, push it there. Mechanics, go down, turn around, and do something from underneath and things like that. So they are doing repetitive motions with a low this thing impact. Using their own body's weight, they have to use. So that's about the exercise. And now the diet is done, exercise is done. So there are a few things like mind, breathing, hydration, sleep, diet, and exercise. These are the 6 things you have to pay attention to. When you pay attention to these things properly and when you become healthy, your blood pressure has to become normal and take care of the mind. That's all. So thanks, Sandeep. I'm just going to stop recording now.